Welcome back to Evolving Waves, where we ride the tides of adversity to reach the shores of success. Today, we are honored to host an extraordinary guest whose story exemplifies the power of community, joy, and impactful action. Meet Katie Blomquist, the founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization Going Places, also a social media expert, college adjunct professor, nonprofit coach, and speaker. Katie's journey began as a Title I elementary school teacher, where she recognized that every child deserves the fundamental right to joy. This belief ignited a remarkable GoFundMe campaign in 2016, which is aimed at providing new bikes for 650 underprivileged students. The campaign not only went viral, but also raised over $80,000 in just 3 months, laying the foundation for her nonprofit. In the years since, Katie has raised enough funds for Going Places to give over 5,100 children, that's 5,100 children, a new custom bike, lock, helmet, and bike pump. In addition to her nonprofit work, Katie has shared her expertise on platforms such as The Steve Harvey Show, ABC World News Tonight, and Nightly News with Lester Holt, empowering other leaders to create meaningful change in their communities as well. So join us as we dive deep into Katie's journey, the challenges that she has faced, and the invaluable lessons that she's learned along the way. Get ready to be inspired to take action and create a positive impact in your own community as we welcome Katie Blomquist to the Evolving Ways podcast. Katie, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
We are so happy to have you. And before we get in to the crux of our episode today, got to quickly shout out our sponsor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Stingray Branding, a national lead generation focused marketing agency that helps businesses generate an ROI from their marketing efforts by helping them get branded, get identified, and get results. Learn more about Stingray Branding at their website, stingraybranding.com. So Katie, thank you so much again for taking the time to get with us today. We're recording this in the morning. How's your morning going so far?
Good. Got up at 5, went to the gym, and it's been good.
Good. Yeah, it's 9:30 in the morning and we are already very accomplished. I love it. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us about your experience as a Title I elementary school teacher and how it shaped your perspective on the joys and challenges faced by underprivileged children.
So I always say, actually, any Title I teacher will tell you that you don't become a Title I teacher because teaching is your passion. It's not about that. It's about being passionate about that population of children. It's about being maybe the only hug they get in a day. It's about, having that additional impact that is far beyond, the guide reading table. And so, but with that comes, it's a lot of stress. I mean, if you know, is kind of what they say. It's another level of stress because the behavior is so wild in the classroom. I mean, there was second graders that were drinking mini bottles in the bathroom at 7 a.m. I had a first grader bring a 10-inch bladed knife to school. I pulled out of her backpack. It's another level. I mean, I could sit here for 5 hours and tell you stories that would blow your mind.
A knife.
Yeah.
Like a weapon.
She's like 6 and 7. Like, yeah. I mean, I literally could tell you stories forever about the behavior. And it's the kids in that when the first graders get angry, they throw chairs across the room. I didn't do that in first grade. You didn't do that in first grade, I'm assuming. But that's because that's not what I saw at home. They model, you model what you know. And so that is just a window into what their home lives are like. And so, it was a very high stress environment, and that's why the teaching lifespan of a Title I teacher is typically 6 years, I think they say, and I lasted 5. So in most Title I teachers leave and completely switch professions. Some don't even make it past the first year because it's so difficult. But that only further emphasizes how the importance of trying to bring positive things into these kids' lives and instill in them all these positive behaviors, and that people do care about them, and there's all these great things out in the world that you can go do. We just have to get through school and all of that.
So, can we just, before we go any further, can you just give us the definition of exactly what Title One
Oh, yeah.
is and exactly how it is classified?
Yeah, so Title One means that 40% or more of the children enrolled live at or below the poverty line, which means those kids are on free and reduced lunch. I know for a while, like during COVID and for a couple of years after, all the kids got free lunch, whether you were, it categorized that or not. But now I think it's back to just, if you're at or below the poverty line. And so that means that they receive extra funding from the government. The school
The school
does,
does, yes. If 40% of
or
the
more, yeah.
student, okay, got it. Awesome. So what prompted you to start this GoFundMe that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah.
How did this get going? What was it about exactly? And how do you go about providing bikes to children? And what were your initial hopes when you launched it?
So there was a little boy in my class, Jawan, who inspired this. I would take him out after school and on weekends, and just he was, someone who learned long ago if he stalled long enough, the subject would pass, and he got away with doing no work. And so I was trying to bond with him and earn his trust and get him to do his work. And I just kind of realized eh, I'm going to show him all these things out there in the world that you can go do and that are so cool, but we have to get through school first. And so we started going and doing fun adventures on weekends and after school. Sorry, I keep hitting this microphone. And we, on his birthday, which is May 17th, so it's coming up, we went and did a bunch of fun things and ended at Walmart, where I was letting him pick out a few gifts. And the gift he asked for was a bike. And I couldn't afford it. I'm a teacher, so I was thinking oh, I would $20 gift is more what I was thinking. And I just couldn't stop thinking about the bike and how I, grew up with a bike, and I'm sure you guys did. And it's kind of this classic rite of passage thing every child experiences. Our great grandparents, we see black and white photos of them with bikes. And so I started asking around other kids in my class, wondering, is it just him or is it other kids? And I came to realize that it was really none of the kids. And I asked, well, do your older siblings? And they said, if they did, it was an old hand-me-down, it was rusty. Basically, no was the answer. So someone had suggested maybe I do a GoFundMe just to get Joanna a bike. And I thought, well, no, because someone will fulfill that in 5 seconds of posting it. What more can I do? If I'm going to go the GoFundMe route, I want to have a bigger impact. And I just couldn't bear to leave anybody out. My whole school, it was 98% of the kids lived at or below the poverty line. And so I was like, let's go big. So I did, I launched this GoFundMe the day after Labor Day. And I was in my pajamas watching Friends on the couch, and I pressed go. And it quickly, raised over $1,000 in the first 24 hours, which was so much money to me. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea where this was going to go. I thought, I'll just keep doing it till it works, till it happens. And it went truly, truly viral.
How does a GoFundMe campaign like that go so viral? Who were the catalysts in helping it get that kind of traction?
So I treated it like a second full-time job. Every night I would work until midnight, just tagging every bike magazine there was on, on Twitter, on email, on all social media, just tagging them, emailing every radio station in South Carolina, just trying to get somebody to pick it up. And people start sharing it. And I think the number one thing that makes something go viral is it's the ambition level that's greater than what the average person is doing. Had it just been for Jawan or just for my class, it wouldn't have gotten any traction because it's not a wildly ambitious thing. But when you're trying to get 650 kids a bike, that's what I call the wow factor. It's it literally makes you say, wow, oh my gosh. And so people got really attached to that. The second thing that makes it go viral is that it is something we can all relate to. You either had a bike or you didn't. And most of us did, and we take that memory for granted. And those that didn't, it was a major thing in their childhood they wish they had had. So everyone can relate to it. That's the other big thing. And it pulls at your heartstrings one way or the other. And then so those are the two first things that kind of made people start sharing it and all that stuff. So then through GoFundMe had a back to school contest, and anyone that had a campaign that was related to your school at all in any way, whoever could raise the most in a certain amount of time, a time frame, would win $10,000 for their school. So it wasn't towards your campaign because you know obviously had raised a lot of money in the time frame, so your school benefited. So I won that, and I won $10,000. So there was a huge check presentation at my school, and you know, the superintendent came, and every single local media came, including the Post and Courier. Post and Courier wrote an article, and then a lot of TV producers started seeing that and picking it up. So the Steve Harvey show called, and before that, TJ Maxx and Twitter, they also saw it, and there was a campaign where they picked 6 women doing incredible things across the U.S. Each person got their own 2 weeks where they had like Miss America and all these people tweeting, and they raised all this money for us through that. And then also simultaneously the Steve Harvey show saw it, and then I was a guest on that show, and then the Ellen DeGeneres show was calling, Oprah's network was calling, Rachel Ray's network was calling. It was in Time magazine, like it went not just like TikTok viral, like national media viral. And it was crazy. TikTok didn't even exist then, but it was the 2016-17 school year. But it was wild, absolutely incredible.
So I feel like if everyone could launch a campaign that would go viral, everyone would do it. The problem is that there's a lot of work, there's a lot of difficulty, and I'm sure that there are some moments where maybe doubt kind of crept in, like, this is so hard, this is so difficult, it's just not getting the traction that I thought I was going to get at first, before you got to this point where you have Oprah and Steve Harvey reaching out to try to connect with you. So can you talk a little bit about some of those earlier challenges, and maybe were there moments that you kind of wondered why you were doing this at first?
Well, I actually didn't experience that because it went viral immediately. So wow. To me, it was like so easy, which is, I know, very rare. I also didn't go into it expecting it to go viral. Things didn't go viral really back then because social media wasn't what it is today. Like I said, I don't think TikTok was like a thing then. It was going viral wasn't people's goal. So I didn't even set out I had really no goal except I'm just going to raise this money and see what happens. Like I didn't even think about getting on national media. I don't even know. I didn't even have a plan or expect any. I don't know what I was doing really. I just was doing it. And so it kind of was a surprise that this happened, and it was crazy how it kept building and building. I mean, it was snowballing. Like, my mom called that you have to go to school Ellen ready every day because the Ellen show was calling, and like I had, to come with full makeup on ready every day because media was at our school constantly. I mean, it became a regular thing that these kids would just see. It was such a parallel universe that I was living in, where I'm just like this teacher, and then this person that's like also at recess being interviewed by CNN or HLM, which is CNN's sister network, live. It was just in my classroom. It was just so crazy. So I did experience what you were talking about, though, when I transitioned from a GoFundMe to a nonprofit. That's when I was so jaded with this is so easy. Like it was not reality what I was experiencing, or with the norm. I guess it was reality for me, but it was not common. And so when I quit teaching and I started the nonprofit Going Places, I was kind of expecting it to be the same momentum. And it got, in my mind, I'm like, well, now it's a true nonprofit. Now it's tax deductible. Of course people are going to even donate even more. If they donated all this before and they couldn't write it off, why wouldn't they now? And it was just totally different, because now people viewed it as a business and not just a teacher doing a nice thing. So that was the shock. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've quit my job. Like, what am I going to do? And I'd already made this proclamation to the world that this is what I'm doing. And it was very scary. And I cried a lot. I had become good friends with the global PR person for GoFundMe because once a campaign goes that viral, she gets involved, and she was sending out press releases, to a lot of the top media, which is what continued to have it grow. And she was like, "That's that is a reality. Like that's unfortunately what happens a lot when it becomes a, something beyond the GoFundMe." So I just started reaching out to every single nonprofit. I mean, first of all, I have never taken a business class. I have know nothing about business. I've aside from volunteering in not with for nonprofits, I have never run anything in my life. So I'm literally like a sheet in the wind here. And all I know is I'm good at connecting with people and I'm good at getting word out. But everything else, I'm like, did not know how to build a board or anything. So anyone that would meet with me, and I know the whole can we meet for coffee and pick your brain thing is the most annoying thing you could ever get asked to do. But I was like, someone's got to do. I'm sure eventually someone's got to do it, and people did. And slowly, I just started surrounding myself with the right people and building it. And we had some money left over from the GoFundMe because it went viral when we went viral twice when I launched it, and then we actually gave the bike. So there was some money in the bank. So it just kind of grew from there.
That's quite spectacular. Katie, that's an amazing story, and honestly, I was hoping to get a little bit of insight as to where the frustrations were with the GoFundMe, but if there weren't any, then that means that it couldn't possibly have been any more successful. But so all right, so let's go back a little bit though to the first time that you fully understood the magnitude of what you were doing. Was it the first hug you got from a kid? Was it when you handed the first bike to Jawan? When was that aha moment for you that this was something special?
When it first national media called, that's when I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is people are getting it. Like this is like I'm onto something with this idea of joy, and that this is something that every kid. I mean, my GoFundMe was called "Every Kid Deserves a Bike." It was super simple and straight to the point. And when I still didn't quite get it. I thought it was still just I won the GoFundMe contest. We got my school a check. This is really special. I kind of assumed that's as far as it would go. Like I thought it was a huge deal when the Channel 2 news came and I was on the local news. I thought that would be it. I had no idea how much bigger it was about to get. And it was the Steve Harvey show when they called. That was just like, oh my gosh.
Steve Harvey is that kind of presence that tends to make you realize you've made it when you share a stage with him.
Yeah.
That is special.
I mean, also, what to have Ellen DeGeneres as producers called,
Sure.
I mean, that was another, and unfortunately, she does not, I had already been on Steve Harvey, and she will not have you on if you've ever been on it, if your story's been on anything else. And so that would have been an even bigger audience, and I didn't know back then to like how to play it against each other, be like, well, they're calling it, like I just
Leverage.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm extremely grateful. Steve Harvey was amazing. It's what made it get to where it went. But I didn't know. I was just going up with anything that came. I was like, sure, sure. And like the whole TJ Maxx and Twitter thing, that was wild to see all these people. They made me this book afterwards of all these tweets people had made because they had to use a certain hashtag that was assigned to me for us to get them. And every time they did it, we got a certain amount of money. And they made me this like really nice book with all these tweets and pictures of me with Joanna in my class. I couldn't believe it. It was so cool.
So, yeah, obviously a lot of success there with that GoFundMe campaign. Something that I'm sure continues to be a source of great joy and pride for you. Let's talk a little bit more about the launch of Going Places, though. So you have this great success. It's awesome. Can I say you're famous? Is that a fair statement to make?
No, I'm not famous.
Well, the campaign went famous. The campaign is famous.
The GoFundMe was.
The GoFundMe
nobody
famous.
knows me. It's, oh, are you the bike lady? Like it's not about me, so there's no reason to remember me. It's just, oh, you're the bike lady. People will stop me sometimes in Charleston and be like, wait, you do the bikes, right? Like, you're the bike lady. Like, I've had Uber drivers like, wait, oh my gosh, I've been following you since day one. And like, so, but it's, so that is really cool.
Okay, so I think it's fair then to call the GoFundMe page famous, at least in terms of those who want to do great things for each other in the nonprofit giving sort of world. It's famous there. But going places, as you said, was something new. You had to quit your job as a teacher to go and launch going places. You didn't have any real experience in business before. So how did you have to sort of learn that on the fly as you were going into the business world, and what did you learn right away?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just called anyone that was in the nonprofit world and was like, "Can you meet me for coffee? Like, I just need to pick your brain." As everyone hates that email when they get it, but I people did and helped me with, I'm like, what do I do? Like, I didn't even know there was, the software you need, that your donate button, and who needs to be on your board. Like, I just had like friends on my board who like supported me, and that's not a professional board. And everything, it was just, I had to learn it. And so though, my friend Adam White, he actually saw me on the news. This is so funny. So I was on the news, and it was I think like the, I don't know, was it 11 o'clock news, 10, whatever, like the latest broadcast was pushed really, really late because there was like a basketball game or something on that was like the final. So all these people were up still watching this very important, whatever. I'm not a sports person. I was waiting up to see me on the news. It was one of the first times, and since the GoFundMe had ended. And I think it was announcing that I had started this nonprofit. And I had taken an Ambien, and then it aired, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. And then I get this message from Adam White, who had been on another board before. He's heavily in the nonprofit world. He used to work full time running a nonprofit and all this stuff. And he reached out and was like, asked me all these questions and wanted to interview me for something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just took this Ambien. I'm like trying not to sound like I'm drunk or like I was trying to be, I was so excited and was just trying to like communicate with him. And so he ended up joining my board. He first gave me all this free advice. And I was like, you've more than earned a spot on my board. You want to be part of this. And so he really, really helped guide us and help create, things I didn't know what bylaws were, that we needed them. I didn't know anything. So he was hugely instrumental in helping us, get that building place. And, we're 8 years in now, and which is insane to me, like how quickly time flies. But we're done building, and now we're growing, and there's a big difference in how you do that. And so we're still kind of learning, like, okay, how do we grow versus build? We spent 8 years, building this, so it's been really, really fun to see the community get so excited and want to be part of it.
So Going Places is now in year number 8. How does Going Places in its 8th year compare to Going Places in year 1 and even in year 4? Where's been the growth like?
So the first thing that I really notice is with our gala coming up. We have a gala May 17th, and this is our 5th year doing the gala. And all the years, last year was, I would say last year and this year were the biggest difference in ticket sales, sponsorships. In the first years, it was all individual tickets, and we were like desperate for someone to buy a table, and a board member ended up buying like a couple tables, but we weren't just selling them. Like, I didn't have this audience, this network yet of people that were like, we're coming to this gala and we're going to spend a lot of money. So it was just so watered down. And then this year 5, we sold out in our tables in a day and a half, and that only left us, because we had so many of them, it only left us with 20 individual tickets to sell, and those sold out in less than 24 hours. And it's just crazy, like how last year I was looking at my Facebook memories, and I'm still we always do it the third weekend of May. I'm still posting like, get your tickets, and we sold out tickets long ago already. So just the fact that people are wanting, and a lot more people I don't know every year. It's new people who hear it from friends, or people who bought tables transfer into becoming a sponsor, because they really get to, you really get to learn about the mission and stuff at the event, and we really prove ourselves and wow people. And so then they want to be more, have a larger hand in the event. So that was a huge indication that we are really, because, other nonprofits that have been around forever and have had their galas around forever, you don't see them advertising their gala. They just have the same people that come every year. They don't even sell individual tickets. It's just tables. And we've had to go on the news. We've had to write press releases. We've had to post, get people to post for us, trying to get word out. And now it's like, oh my gosh, are we becoming like one of those other nonprofits that just have this, are we at that level now? Like next year, do we only do table sales? Like it's just wild to see that support get to that level, and people spending so much money at the gala. It's really, really cool and emotional. Just when you're at the gala, to be like, oh my gosh, all these people believe in us. So that's been really cool. And then just, year round, like when we get, checks in the mail that we didn't ask for, or that kind of stuff just shows that we really are growing.
So the next question I had to ask you was about how your journeys empowered others, and we'll get to that in a second. But speaking of empowering, where is our friend Jawan right now these days?
He is he's about to turn 16, which is insane because he was 7. It was his 7th birthday when we did this. And the gala is actually on his birthday, which is the day it all started. I could cry. It's just really cool. So, and my dad shares a birthday with him. So it's just kind of this, oh my God, I'm crying. Sorry. It's just really cool. But yeah, he's in 10th grade, and he's, doing great. He's really involved in his church, which is really great. He is doing track, which he loves. He's part of this group. Of course, now I forget the name. I know the executive director of it. It's raising it's like something gentlemen, where they have to earn their bow tie, and they learn how to be, a gentleman, and it's really, so he's been heavily involved in that. And he's just good. He's good. He's just very sweet. He always is like, how are you doing? What's new with you? And my parents are really close to them too. So whenever I go see him, my parents always come too, and we always take him out for lunch or whatever. And he asks questions, asks us about our lives. What 16-year-old boy does that? And he's done that even when he was 10 and 7. He would be like, what's new with you? And that kind of stuff. Just very thoughtful, very sweet.
I mean, that's just a fantastic story in itself. You were the one who's been driving this forward, but that's a great story in itself. I don't know, maybe we could have him on this show sometime, and he could talk about his growth and his development. Because that's an awesome thing that you did for him. So let's talk more broadly now about how this initiative that you took, about starting a GoFundMe to going places, being 8 years old now. How have you seen it empower others in the nonprofit world?
I think it's just shown what I've always tried to show people is one person really can make a difference. You don't need, it's never going to be the right time to start anything. You can find people say that about marriage, having a baby, it's there's never a right time. There's always an excuse, right? There's always something coming up. There's always whatever. So it's just do it. You got to put effort into it, and you have to I have worked way more hours than the average person, but I think most entrepreneurs, because this is a business too, understand what I mean when I say that. But even if most people, when you start a nonprofit, have a full-time job, they can't just quit their job like I was able to and start running it full-time, because we had the seed money. So you have to treat it like I did my GoFundMe, like a second full-time job, and work until midnight and put every ounce of energy into something to get it off the ground. But, you really can. I was a nobody. I had no network. I had a very small group of friends, that were teacher friends. My life was so different than it is now. So I still did it. So you don't need this huge network or this huge social media presence. You just have to get the word out there. Find what your wow factor is. The thing that's going to stand out against others and make people want to share it and donate to it.
Yeah. So one of the things you mentioned was how there's a power in being able to give a kid a hug who's never
Mhm.
doesn't have the ability to get that at home or from anywhere else. So from that to handing the kid the bike to just being able to see their growth, like Jawan noticing how he's involved in his local church and doing track at his local high school, things like that, I'm sure are all some of the most joyous moments you can experience in your life. So how would you say that you seeing the joy that you've given others, how has that impacted your life and the lives of those who are directly around you?
Yeah, it's really cool to see, people, and it's not everyone wants to start something. Not everyone's meant to, let's say, be a leader in a nonprofit world, and that's fine. But if you create a path and give them things to do, it's shocking how, in a wonderful way, how many people will do it. So I see that like with our need for volunteers, and we have to build four, five, 600 bikes in 2 days. People show up, and so you're giving them this way to give back, and I always say with us, it's not, show up, do something for a couple hours and leave and just have a good feeling. You get to see the impact of what you do. You could donate and buy the bike and then come build the bike and then come to the bike reveal and see the kid get the bike that you bought and built. It's extremely full circle. And, not everyone can give money, and that's fine. Not everyone wants to build a bike. That's fine. Like, there's so many ways you can help us. You can come to our gala. You could be a sponsor. We have a new fundraiser in October that's called Tour de Joy, and it's a family friendly bike ride family festival. You can come ride a bike. You can come build the bike. You can come to the bike reveal and help set up and pull the tarp off and surprise the kids. There's so many ways to give back. And everyone feels kind of connected with helping in one of those ways. So you can see how good it makes them feel and empowered it makes them feel. And that's a great feeling too. It's not like I'm inspiring everyone to start a nonprofit because that's unrealistic. It's the being able to be part of it and giving them this power in giving back that I think is such a powerful and great feeling.
So what kind of advice would you give to individuals who are facing their own style of adversity, whatever that may be, in their own lives or endeavors, especially among those who are looking to create positive change in their communities?
What advice would I give some? I I mean, I guess I'm not really sure what you mean. Like, what is?
Well, so if someone is trying to create a great initiative for their community or their local society or whatever it may be, and they're trying to make something good happen, and they're doubting themselves, they're struggling, they're stressed out, they're up till 1 in the morning thinking about it, and they're just not able to put the pieces together for it, and they're just wondering, why am I even doing this? Should I even continue, or should I just abort and go do something else? What advice do you have to give them?
Oh, yeah, because I mean, with everything, there's highs and lows. Everything in life. It's if you're on a high streak and everything's working out, right around the corner, it's going to feel like, the world is against you, and that we've had that a lot. Like everything. It's this, like I said, is a business. Every entrepreneur knows their business goes through great years and really crappy years. And last year was the worst year Going Places has ever had. I mean, we did better during COVID. It's just one of those years. It was an election year. Giving was down 15% across the board. It was just a really tough year. And that some of these phases, these seasons last longer than others. You feel like the entire world is determined to make, Going Places fail, and you just have to wait and keep, if you do nothing, nothing is going to change. So just finding, how am I going to fix this? What can I do to fix this? And seeking out those solutions, and not just complaining about it, not just sitting in bed crying about it, but like, you have to do something to make it change. So, seeking those things out and knowing that it's right around the corner are those wins. They say good things come in threes and bad things come in threes. And we're finally, turned a big corner, and so many good things are finally happening. I'm like, oh, finally, we're out of that longer, really bad period. And it doesn't mean that other bad periods won't come, that hopefully will be shorter than the whole year. But I would just say, you have to actively seek to change your situation. I mean, it's just like when things in your own life are going bad, you have to just, you can't be someone that complains about it. You have to seek the change. And if that's, you need funding and you don't know how to get it, are you applying for grants? I mean, mostly nonprofits over 3 years can get grants because you need like financials to back up what you're doing and that it's sustainable. But hire a grant writing coach is insanely expensive and you're not even guaranteed the grant. So we hired a grant writing coach who worked with me over 8 sessions. We built me a whole grant template, and now I can apply for grants. Like, we seek to change, and I work, and we're up to like 11 at night lately, applying for as many of these as we can get. And it's just, we added new board members so we could add, some new blood and get some new energy. And we are keeping our same board members, but we want more people to help us, get the word out and exposure. So we just did those things amongst others to change our situation, and it worked. It's not instant. All these things take time.
For sure. Everything in life takes time. Everything except for your virality, I guess, of your initial GoFundMe.
Yeah, that was very rare.
Yeah. Everything else takes time. I think we can all assume that things that are worth celebrating take time and effort. So how has your personal understanding of success and what a successful campaign is since started Going Places? How have these impressions of what success is, how have they evolved in your mind? How has your definition of success changed from when you first started your GoFundMe campaign to now, after having just gone through this difficult year?
I mean, with the nonprofit, success is funding. I mean, it's extremely black and white. If you are a nonprofit and you are based off of getting money, then if getting funds is what makes you successful. If we don't have funds, we can't support our mission. So, it's for us, it's always been about getting the funds. And in order to get the funds, you need people to support you and believe in you. So, it's getting people to believe, with a nonprofit, someone gives you money and they're not getting anything in return except a good feeling and a tax receipt. They're not getting a product. They're believing that you are going to be able to put this, you're not going to fail, and their money is gone. And so it's the success is getting these, big companies like Boeing. They've sponsor an entire bike reveal for us every year at Christmas time. And so that's huge. A huge, major company is believing in us, that we're their main charity they support every year is huge. And, we had a family foundation in Arizona fund, it was 130 bikes in Arizona. So we got to do our first out-of-state bike reveal, and so getting people to believe in you and give you these huge sums of money, and then for me to pull it off and see them happy and the kids happy, that is what I think, really shows that we're successful, because then they're going to also tell other people, and it's that word of mouth and the trust.
Trust is key, for sure. So where can people learn more? Where can people donate? Where can people go to help you at Going Places?
They can go to goingplacesnonprofit.org, and they can go to our social media is updated quickest with what's going on, but our donate button is on social media and it's still on our website. On Instagram, it's going_places_nonprofit, and on Facebook, it's Going Places Nonprofit.
And what lies ahead for Going Places? What's next for you guys?
So we have our gala May 17th, and that really determines the majority of the funds we have, how much we'll have to do schools in the fall. So hopefully we raise a ton and we're able to do a bunch of schools in the fall and the winter. And then we have our big first Tour de Joy, which is our big family-friendly bike ride and festival, October 11th. I know it's a football, time, so we do have multiple TVs, a game center, game lounge with open bar and all this stuff. So there's no excuse. It's, bounce houses and lots of fun kids stuff as well. And then bike reveals this November and December.
Awesome. Well, as we wrap up today's episode, please be sure to remember, especially in the face of such an amazing story here, that in the face of adversity, whether that adversity comes in the form of doubt or just long, difficult nights or difficult years, even for as you have for going places, remember that in the face of any kind of adversity that you may face, there is always the potential for growth, resilience, and success. So be sure to join us every other Monday as we continue to explore more inspiring stories of overcoming challenges that eventually help you thrive in your journey in life. Katie, we're so grateful for your
Thanks.
time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate it as always.
Yeah, thanks.